The Tale of the Lost Christmas by Ms Moem. Have you heard of the Lost Christmas? It's not mentioned a lot, but in the depths of a brutal winter, one year Santa forgot. He'd been out with the lads and he'd had too much gin. It meant he missed work because, alas, he slept in. Mrs Claus was no use, in fact she was as bad. She'd been acting the barmaid, entertaining the lads. She made the boys roar with a flash of her thighs and did something unspeakable with 2 hot fresh mince pies. Anyway, the upshot, it destroyed all their plans and families sat baffled with their heads in their hands. There were children sat sobbing and mums shaking their fists, dads trying to gain access to the fabled naughty list. They checked on Santa's Twitter and his Facebook page too. All they'd found was a selfie from the Lapland Christmas do. He'd not updated his status to say he was primed, and NORAD simply said, "There's no movement at this time." There was no sign of Rudolph and no word from the elves, so reluctantly the parents took the jobs on themselves. There was no time to waste. They could moan about it later. They set about finding presents and wrapping them in paper. Mum persuaded Dad to slip on a red suit, then sent him on his way to his entrance via the roof. He got halfway up the drain pipe, but couldn't go any higher, realising his route was blocked by the fancy electric fire. He clambered down, defeated, knowing his wife would send him back, when he simply wanted to get to the point and empty his special sack. At this point it was getting late, and the day looked to be lost, but he was determined to give his kids Christmas, and he would do it at any cost. So he hopped onto the landline, you know, that thing that no one uses, and when Santa finally answered, Dad was taking no excuses. He said he'd better get here, or if he didn't there would be trouble, and he demanded that as compensation the amount of presents should now be double. He didn't give him a chance to say that this would not occur, as Mum was looking on and frankly he was more scared of her. So Santa apologised profusely and said that he was on his way and he hoped he'd make it over there before the end of Christmas Day. Eventually he made it and the children clapped with glee. Dad just raised his eyebrows and gestured to where the gift should be. Mum said, "Come on, Nigel, it doesn't matter that he was late. He's here and he's brought goodies, and I think he's pretty great. In fact, forgive my boldness, but I really love what you do. And I've never met someone so famous, so can I get a picture with you?" Dad just couldn't believe it. He was raging, that's for sure. Just hours ago this woman said she had no faith in Santa anymore. Now here she was swooning, with stars in her eyes, over an old man with a hangover, barely legal to fly. It all got quite messy. The police came in the end. They weren't sure if he could press charges. Said it would depend, as there was no sign of a break-in, and St Nick was always good to the force. They said they'd seen all they needed, and they'd be in touch in due course. Santa scarpered sharpish. Dad nursed his black eye. Mum tried to console the children, said there was no need to cry. She offered up turkey sandwiches, but no one felt like eating. It's not Christmas when you've seen Santa give your dad a good beating. So no one ever mentions it, and now you know why. The legend of the year that Santa forgot to take to the sky. He has never let it happen since, and just to make extra sure, he now has moved his Christmas party to the weekend before.